On the 27th of June 1869, 5 tons of nitroglycerine were offloaded from the schooner Heroine into a secluded explosive storehouse at Abermenai Point on the Anglesey side of the Menai Straits in North Wales. On the 30th of June, it was transported by boat across the straits to Carnarvon, where it was packed onto 5 carts, described as tumbrils without springs. To avoid any movement in transit, it was wedged in sawdust and covered with straw. Sometime that afternoon, 2 of the carts set off for the Glenronwy slate quarry, situated just outside the small Snowdonia village of Llanberis, some 7 miles away. The carters, David Roberts, described as a father of many children, and Evan Jones, just 18, made steady progress, stopping at both the Bluebell Inn and the Alexandria Inn for some cooling refreshment. It was an extremely hot day. At about 10 minutes to 6, a couple of miles from their destination, just past the newly built railway station, on the edge of Cwm y Glo village, there was an almighty explosion as both carts blew up within a split second of each other. It was heard in Holyhead, some 25 miles away, with the people of Upper Bangor 9 miles away thinking it was an earthquake. Each explosion left a 10-foot diameter crater. Carts, horses and humans were totally destroyed, alongside a quarryman, Robert Morris, aged 26, who had recently returned home to North Wales from the USA. He had obtained work at Glenronwy and was on his way back to his weeknight lodgings in the village. 2 children died as a result of the explosion: John Jones, aged 11, and Griffith John Pritchard, aged 10, the son of a blind butcher who had been accompanying his father to buy a sheep. The father, who had lost his eyesight in a quarrying accident, and the sheep both lived. About half a mile away, on the mountainside high above the village, there is an X marked on a rock where a cartwheel and part of the horse's harness had landed. Locals make sure it will always remain visible by scratching it as they pass. In all, a total of 5 people died and lots more were injured. The roof of the railway goods shed was completely blown away. Most of the buildings in the village suffered considerable damage, including the Railway Inn, now the Snowdon Inn, which was in the process of being built. The verdict at the inquest was that the deaths were caused by this occurrence, the explosion of nitroglycerine, and that it accidentally exploded. How it occurred, there is no evidence to show. The nitroglycerin had come from the Hamburg factory of Alfred Nobel. It had been invented by Ascanio Sobrero in 1846, who had deemed it too unsafe to use. Alfred was determined to work out how to stabilise it. In 1864, his factory in Stockholm blew up, killing among others his brother Emil. After that tragedy, Alfred still continued his quest, working from a barge on a local lake. In 1867, he discovered that mixing the nitroglycerin with a dirt-like substance formed from fossilised algae made it into a dough-like consistency and much safer to handle. He called the new product dynamite. The explosion in Cwm y Glo caused a shockwave around the world, and an act to ban the use of nitroglycerin came into force. The local quarry owners, realising they needed to get rid of their stock, put it in the local Llyn Padarn. Nitroglycerin doesn't dissolve in water, and inevitably, some years later, there was another large explosion. Some good did come out of the invention, as nitroglycerine is still used in the treatment of heart conditions. Just before his death in 1896, Alfred Nobel was prescribed nitroglycerine. Writing to a friend, "Isn't it the irony of fate that I have been prescribed nitroglycerine, to be taken internally? They call it trinitrin, so as not to scare the chemist and the public." Using the money he had made from manufacturing explosives, Alfred Nobel eventually set up the Nobel Prizes. This includes the Nobel Peace Prize.